Welcome back to Future Downstream. My name is Adam Soroka. I'm delighted to be joined by Jason Gislason, who's the Chief Digital Officer for Chevron Phillips Chemical Company. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason, all the way from the States. I really am delighted actually you're joining us prior to your panel, especially as well. So I know we're sort of a little bit time sensitive, so I'll have a bit of a fireside chat with you. Just so you know, obviously you work at Chevron Phillips. I know that you're a big pioneer on machine learning and AI in particular. Um,
Yeah.
what lessons do you think can be learned from the downstream and chemical sector, specifically applying these technologies, Jason?
I think one of the biggest things is how you go about implementing those technologies. So you need to start with your end user in mind first. So think about the frontline employee, what it is they do, what needs they have, what decisions they make on a day-to-day basis. They know their needs better than anybody else in the organization. They're not going to necessarily provide you with the solution, but together you can ideate the solution. You can work together then to develop the solution, and then you need to get really engaged, high-performing business people that are working on that front line in with the development team, so that there's a direct transfer of knowledge from the business unit to the development team, and that typically leads to a really good product. The I'd say the other thing to think about is there's always going to be resistance, and
Yeah.
you'll always have detractors, right? And so you'll have detractors when you deploy things and when you develop it, and even when it's there long term, they still won't believe it works at times, and it's okay. If you're pushing the organization hard and you're pushing them to do things differently, some people, a little bit of grumbling is not a bad thing. That shows that you're
Yeah.
making a difference. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. So, what are the biggest barriers apart from that? What are the biggest barriers to implement all of this? So, when you put into sort of action AI machine learning, what sort of have you come across?
Yeah, it's always user adoption, right? The person doing the data science, the person doing machine learning AI believes it works. The people that are using it want to believe it, but don't typically understand it very well because they just don't have the background in it. And if you can bring the people along while you're developing the tools, while you're developing the machine learning, and bring them along so they understand how they're deploying it and what they're using and what the limitations are, they're going to be much more comfortable using it. And it's really all comes down to really good user experience design, really good change management, and a lot of upfront work with your customer.
Well, we're going to talk more about it in the panel afterwards. But what's the secret of employing this? Because it is change management. It's getting people to buy into this, even if you're bought in and you're sort of top of that chain, and you've got a lot of enthusiasm for it. How do you encourage the rest of the organisation to follow suit?
Yeah, I find creating a small group within the organization that are experts in a specific thing. So, for example, if you think about change management, user experience design in general, we started that in a very small group in the organization. The intent then was once the organization realized how critical a need it was across the entire company, we had a centralized resource of experts to go to help them solve the problem. But it's the solution has to be there before the problem's recognized. And once the problem's recognized, you have to be able to respond quickly, right? Because nobody wants to hear about a problem that doesn't have a solution. So get the solution in place, do it at small scale, and then be ready to deploy it when the organization's ready.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, that doesn't work that way, does it? I don't think you're going to
No,
get much
no.
much buy-in from that, to be honest. So, on sort of a final note, because obviously this event is on technology integration predominantly, because we talk about everything from digital twin to machine learning and AI. We also cover decarbonisation. It's a massive, massive issue in the sector, and obviously we're looking at ways in which technology can facilitate that. So, um, what technology do you think, and this from your side, your role, Chevron Phillips, what role do you think technology can play to decarbonize this industry?
I think it's going to play a huge role. I think, I'm obviously biased towards digital transformation and digital technologies, but even something as simple as visualization of scope 3 emissions,
Yeah.
that's something that we can all calculate in some way, shape, or form, but it's sometimes really hard to get the day-to-day details on. And if you can start visualizing that, capturing that information, also if you can start capturing all of the emissions data and waste data with respect to all of your plant operations, someday, and someday really, really soon, that data is going to be the thing that drives the optimization of your plant. It's, we've been optimizing our logistics systems and our plant operations for profit for a long time. That is still going to be a component, but it's not going to be the only component. How we impact the environment, how we impact our other stakeholders, the people that use our products, the people that live near our plants, is going to become equally as important. So when you're thinking about objective functions for optimizing machine learning algorithm, decarbonization is going to be a critical input into that. And if we don't start capturing all of that data now and thinking about how the footing that we put decarbonization on with respect to profits, then we're going to do ourselves a disservice and we'll be way behind the curve. So, machine learning AI is going to have a huge impact. Data visualization and capture is going to have a big impact. And I think it's going to cross organizations. So when you're thinking about our supply chain and logistics, it won't just be us optimizing it. It'll be all of our logistics providers optimizing it with us. So it's going to be lots of data sharing, lots of calculations, lots of thinking about what's most important when you optimize.
That's a very good point, because not just you, it's going to be the other people in the value chain, isn't it, who have to do the same thing. So, Jason, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure having this fireside chat with you. I'll let you get off to your panel now because I'm just about to announce it, but it's a real honor having you on the actual event. So thank you very much, Jason.
Well, thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.